My mom told 100 guests I was obsessed with her boyfriend. The silence in my grandmother's living room was deafening. 100 pairs of eyes stared at me like I'd just confessed to murder, and my mother Linda stood there with her perfectly manicured hand resting on her 25-year-old boyfriend Derek's shoulder, wearing that sickeningly sweet smile she reserves for her most devastating moments. I just think it's important everyone knows why Emma has been acting so unstable lately. She had just announced to the entire birthday party. She's developed this unhealthy obsession with Derek. Following him around, showing up places uninvited, sending him inappropriate messages. It's been going on for months now, and frankly, we're all very concerned about her mental state. The cake sat untouched on the table between us, a gaudy pink monstrosity that screamed look at me just like everything else about Linda's 48th birthday celebration. Aunt Carol's mouth hung open. My cousins Sarah and Michael exchanged those knowing looks that said they'd suspected I was unhinged all along. Even my own grandmother, my supposed ally in this family of emotional vampires, was studying me with newfound wariness. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab my mother by her bottle blonde hair extensions and shake her until some semblance of humanity fell out. Instead, I stood there like a deer in headlights, watching 22 years of my reputation crumble in real time. That's not, I started, but Derek cut me off with what I can only describe as an Academy Award-worthy performance of discomfort. Look, Emma's a sweet girl, but... He ran his hand through his annoyingly perfect hair and gave the crowd a helpless shrug. The constant texting, showing up at my work, asking my friends about me. Linda and I have tried to handle this privately, but it's gotten out of hand. The lies rolled off his tongue so smoothly I almost admired the craftsmanship. Almost. If I hadn't spent the last 4 months documenting every single interaction we'd had, including the screenshots of him sliding into my DMs with messages like "Your mom doesn't have to know we're friends," and "You're so much more mature than other girls your age." My phone buzzed in my purse. A text from my roommate Jessica. "Holy shit, Em, my mom just called me asking if you're okay because your Aunt Carol posted something on Facebook about you being obsessed with some guy. What the hell is happening?" That's when it hit me. This wasn't just happening in Linda's living room. This was spreading across social media in real time, reaching my friends, my classmates, probably my professors. My mother had just nuked my entire life from orbit, and she was standing there basking in the fallout like it was giving her a tan. "I think I should go," I managed to whisper, but Linda wasn't done with her show yet. "See? This is exactly what I'm talking about," she announced to the room, gesturing at me like I was Exhibit A in her case for Mother of the Year. "She can't even face the truth about her behavior. Emma, sweetheart, we love you, but you need help." The concerned murmurs from the peanut gallery made my skin crawl. These people, my own family, were eating this up like it was premium entertainment. Not one person asked for my side of the story. Not one person questioned why a grown woman would humiliate her daughter in front of 100 people instead of handling a supposed mental health crisis privately. But that was Linda's specialty, public executions disguised as interventions. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door, already planning my counterattack. The drive back to my apartment was a blur of rage and humiliation, punctuated by the constant ping of notifications on my phone. I'd made the mistake of glancing at one red light, a Facebook post from my cousin Sarah that made my blood boil, prayers for my cousin Emma who's going through some mental health struggles right now. Sometimes family has to make tough choices to get someone the help they need. 2 hearts folded hands # mental health awareness. 43 likes already. 43 people now believed I was having some kind of breakdown. By the time I stumbled through my apartment door, Jessica was waiting with a bottle of wine and murder in her eyes. "Okay, what the actual hell is happening? My mom got 3 different calls about you supposedly stalking some guy, and now there's a whole prayer chain going around asking people to lift you up during this difficult time." I collapsed onto our second-hand couch and finally let myself cry. Not the pretty, single-tear kind of crying you see in movies, but the ugly, snot-filled sobbing that comes when your entire world implodes in the span of 20 minutes. "She told everyone I'm obsessed with Derek," I choked out between sobs. 100 people, Jess. She stood up at her own birthday party and told everyone I'm mentally unstable and stalking her boyfriend. Jessica's face went through several expressions before landing on pure fury. "Derek? The guy who's been hitting on you since they started dating? The one who asked you to meet him for drinks behind Linda's back like 6 times? The very same." I wiped my nose with my sleeve, feeling like a child. And now everyone thinks I'm the one chasing after him. My own grandmother looked at me like I was dangerous. My phone rang, Mom calling. I declined it immediately, but then it started ringing again. And again. When I finally turned it off completely, Jessica's phone started buzzing. "It's your mom," she said, looking at the screen with disgust. "Don't answer it." But Linda was nothing if not persistent. Within minutes, she was calling Jessica from different numbers, probably recruiting her flying monkeys to help track me down. First Derek's number popped up, then a number I recognized as my Aunt Carol's, then one I didn't know at all. "Jesus, she's relentless," Jessica muttered, declining the 4th call in 5 minutes. "What is she, running a phone tree?" That's when I realized the true scope of what Linda had done. This wasn't just a moment of public humiliation, this was a coordinated campaign. She hadn't just told people at the party, she'd been laying groundwork for months, planting seeds of this narrative so that when she finally went nuclear tonight, everyone would nod along like it all made perfect sense. I thought about Mrs. Henderson from next door, who'd given me strange looks the last few times I visited. About my Uncle Mark's weird comment last month about how I should find someone my own age to focus on. About how my cousin Rachel had suddenly stopped inviting me to girls' nights, always claiming she was too busy when I tried to make plans. Linda hadn't just destroyed my reputation tonight. She'd been systematically poisoning the well for months, and I'd been too naive to see it happening. But she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd underestimated exactly how much evidence I had of what had really been going on. I opened my laptop and started organizing files. Screenshots, voice recordings, photos, timestamps, 4 months' worth of documentation that painted a very different picture than the one Linda had presented tonight. Time to go to war. The first person I called was my grandmother. It went straight to voicemail, which wasn't surprising since Grandma Rose barely knew how to answer her flip phone on a good day. But what did surprise me was the voicemail message itself, a new recording where she sounded tired and strained. "Hello, you've reached Rose. I'm taking some time away from phone calls right now to focus on family matters. Please leave a message." She changed her voicemail, I told Jessica, staring at my phone in disbelief. My grandmother changed her voicemail because of tonight. Jessica looked up from her own laptop, where she'd been doing damage control on social media. You need to see this. She turned the screen toward me, and my stomach dropped. It wasn't just Sarah's prayer post anymore. There were 6 different posts about me across various family members' Facebook pages, all with slight variations of the same story. Aunt Carol had shared an article about helping family members with obsessive behaviors. My cousin Michael had posted a vague status about tough love that had 37 comments of support. Even my grandmother's neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, had somehow gotten involved with a post about keeping Derek in our prayers during this difficult situation. This is orchestrated, I whispered, screenshotting each post. Look at the timestamps, they all went up within 40 minutes of each other. She had this planned. My laptop chimed with a new email. Then another. And another. The first was from my academic advisor at college, Emma. I received a concerning call from your mother this evening regarding your well-being. Please contact me Monday morning so we can discuss resources available through student services. The second was from my supervisor at my part-time job at the campus bookstore. Hi Emma, your mom called worried about you. Take a weekend to rest up. We can talk about your schedule when you're feeling better. The third made my hands shake. Emma, this is Dr. Martinez from the Student Counseling Center. Your mother contacted our emergency line expressing serious concerns about your mental state and potential stalking behaviors. I've tentatively scheduled you for a mandatory wellness check Monday at 9 a.m. Please call to confirm. She called my school, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She called my job. She called the counseling center and told them I'm stalking someone. Jessica grabbed the laptop and read the emails herself, her expression growing darker with each one. This is beyond messed up, Em. This is actually scary. Who does this to their own kid? My phone, which I turned back on to call my grandmother, immediately exploded with notifications. Missed calls from numbers I didn't recognize, text messages from extended family members I hadn't heard from in years, and Facebook notifications that made my chest tight with anxiety. One text from my cousin Rachel stood out. Emma, everyone's really worried about you. Mom says you've been acting erratic for months and following Derek around. Is this why you've been so weird lately when we invite you places? We want to help, but we need you to admit you have a problem first. I screenshotted that too, adding it to my growing evidence folder labeled Linda's Lies. Because here's what Rachel didn't know, and what Linda had conveniently left out of her narrative, was that I had proof of every single interaction with Derek, including the voice recording I'd made 3 weeks ago when he'd cornered me in the campus parking lot. I should probably listen to you instead of your mom. His recorded voice played through my laptop speakers as I located the file. She doesn't understand you like I do. Age is just a number anyway, right? You're more mature than most girls I know. Jessica's jaw dropped. Please tell me you have more of these. I did. 17 recordings, 43 screenshots, and 12 photos that told the real story, a story where Derek was the one doing the pursuing, and I was the one trying to maintain boundaries while protecting my mother's feelings. Linda had just declared war on the wrong daughter. The evidence folder on my laptop had grown to 47 files by 2 a.m., and I was running on pure rage and gas station energy drinks. Jessica had fallen asleep on the couch around midnight, but I couldn't stop, not when I could see Linda's poison spreading across the internet in real time. The latest development was a group chat that my cousin Sarah had apparently created called Support for Emma. I'd been added to it along with 15 other family members, and the messages were absolutely unhinged. Aunt Carol, 11:43 p.m. Has anyone tried calling her? She's probably too embarrassed to reach out for help. Uncle Mike, 11:47 p.m. Linda showed me some of the text Emma sent Derek. Really inappropriate stuff. This has been going on since Christmas. My blood turned to ice. Christmas? I had barely spoken to Derek at Christmas, and certainly hadn't texted him anything inappropriate. But Uncle Mike was sharing this like it was established fact, which meant Linda had shown him something. Something fake. I scrolled up through the group chat and found a message from Sarah at 10:28 p.m. just 2 hours after the party had ended. Mom talked to Linda and apparently this has been escalating for months. Emma's been showing up at Derek's apartment building and following his car. Linda found Derek's work schedule written in Emma's handwriting in her purse last week. That was categorically insane. I'd never even been to Derek's apartment, had no idea where he worked, and Linda hadn't looked through my purse since I was in high school. But there it was, being discussed in a family group chat like established truth. I screenshot the entire conversation, my hands shaking with fury. Linda wasn't just spreading lies, she was manufacturing evidence to support them. My phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Emma? It was Derek's voice, pitched low and concerned. Thank God you picked up. Are you okay? Everyone's really worried about you. The audacity of this man calling me at 2 a.m. to ask if I was okay, when he'd spent the evening performing his victim act for 100 people, was actually breathtaking. Don't, I said, hitting record on the voice memo app I'd learned to keep ready. Don't you dare pretend to be concerned about me. Look, I know tonight was intense, but your mom is just trying to help. She loves you, Emma. We both do. But this obsession you have with me, it's not healthy. I could hear Linda coaching him in the background, actual whispers that my phone was picking up. Tell her about the letters, I heard her hiss. What letters, Derek? I asked sweetly. There was a pause, then his voice came back stronger, more confident. The love letters you left on my car. Emma, I still have them. Your mom and I didn't want to embarrass you by bringing them up tonight, but if you keep denying this happened. I'd love to see those letters, I interrupted. Especially since I've never written you a letter in my life, and I don't even know what kind of car you drive. Another pause. More whispered coaching from Linda that I couldn't quite make out. You're clearly not ready to face reality, Derek said finally. But Emma, if you don't get help, we're going to have to take more serious steps. For everyone's safety. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, my new recording saved and labeled Derek threatens me, 2:14 a.m. 48 files now. But Derek had just revealed something crucial, they were planning to escalate this further. More serious steps could mean anything, restraining orders, police reports, having me committed for a psychiatric hold. I opened my laptop and started typing an email to someone I'd hoped I'd never have to contact again, my father. Robert had walked out when I was 16, claiming Linda's drama was too much to handle. I'd hated him for abandoning me to deal with her alone. But right now, he was the only family member Linda hadn't gotten to first. Dad, I typed, I know we haven't spoken in 2 years, but I need your help. Mom has told everyone I'm mentally unstable and stalking her boyfriend. She's contacted my school, my job, and half the family. I have proof she's lying, but I need someone to believe me before she destroys my entire life. Please call me. I hit send before I could change my mind, then immediately started crafting my second email, this one to student services, getting ahead of whatever Linda had told them. The war was about to get very messy. At 6:47 a.m., my phone started buzzing with a call from Dad, a contact I'd never expected to see active again. I'd managed maybe 2 hours of sleep, and Jessica was already up making coffee with the grim determination of someone preparing for battle. Emma? Robert's voice sounded older, more tired than I remembered. I got your email. What the hell is your mother doing now? The relief of having someone, anyone, ask for my side first almost made me cry again. Dad, she's completely lost it this time. She stood up at her birthday party and told 100 people I'm obsessed with her boyfriend. She's calling my school, spreading it all over Facebook, and now Derek's threatening me with serious steps if I don't admit to stalking him. Jesus Christ. I heard him sigh heavily. Emma, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Your mother called me 3 weeks ago. My stomach dropped. What? She called crying, saying you were having some kind of breakdown and fixating on Derek. She wanted me to help pay for private therapy because she was worried you might hurt yourself or someone else. I told her I'd need to hear from you directly before getting involved. The methodical nature of Linda's planning was becoming clearer and more terrifying. Dad, she's been setting this up for months. I have recordings of Derek hitting on me, screenshots of him sliding into my DMs, evidence of everything. She's completely fabricating this. I believe you, he said without hesitation. Your mother was always capable of some creative storytelling, but this is scorched earth, even for her. Send me everything you have. I'm going to make some calls. After we hung up, I started organizing my evidence into a presentation that would be impossible to dismiss. But as I worked, my laptop chimed with a new email that made my blood run cold. It was from the Dean of Students' office, Ms. Thompson. We have received multiple reports regarding concerning behavior and potential safety issues. Effective immediately, you are suspended from campus pending a psychological evaluation. Please contact our office by Monday at 9 a.m. to schedule your mandatory assessment. She got me suspended, I whispered, showing Jessica the email. Linda actually got me suspended from college. Jessica read over my shoulder, her face pale. This is beyond family drama now. This is like systematic harassment. This is scary. My phone rang again, this time it was my academic advisor, Dr. Peterson. I put him on speaker. Emma, I'm calling because I'm confused by some inconsistencies, he said without preamble. Your mother called yesterday claiming you've been missing classes and acting erratically, but my records show perfect attendance and your last paper was exceptional. Then this morning I received a call from someone claiming to be your roommate saying you'd been talking about making Derek pay for rejecting you. I looked at Jessica, who was shaking her head frantically. Dr. Peterson, Jessica is my roommate and she's sitting right here. She never called anyone. I suspected as much. Emma, I've been teaching for 22 years, and this feels like a coordinated harassment campaign. Someone is systematically trying to destroy your academic standing. As if summoned by our conversation, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Linda's friend Patricia from the party. Honey, your mother shared some very concerning screenshots of messages you sent Derek. As someone who works in mental health, I think you should know that obsessive behavior often escalates to violence. Please get help before someone gets hurt. I screenshot the message and immediately called the number back. It went straight to a voicemail. You've reached Patricia Morris, licensed clinical social worker. She's got a therapist texting me now, I told Jessica, who was furiously typing on her laptop. Linda somehow convinced an actual mental health professional to contact me based on fake screenshots. Jessica said slowly, turning her screen toward me. I've been going through Linda's Facebook friends list, cross-referencing with the people posting about you. Look at this. Her screen showed a pattern I hadn't noticed before. Every single person posting about my supposed obsession had interacted with Linda's posts within the last month. She'd been systematically strengthening relationships, commenting on their photos, sharing their content, building social capital specifically for this moment. This wasn't spontaneous, Jessica continued. She's been cultivating an army. My phone rang again, unknown number. This time I recorded the call before answering. Emma Thompson? This is Officer Martinez with Campus Police. We've received a report that you may be experiencing a mental health crisis and could pose a danger to another student. We need to schedule a wellness check. The room started spinning. Linda had somehow gotten Campus Police involved. Officer Martinez, I said carefully, I believe I'm the victim of a harassment campaign. Someone has been filing false reports about my mental state and fabricating evidence. I have extensive documentation proving this. Ma'am, we have to take all reports seriously. Are you available to meet with us today? I looked at Jessica, who was already pulling up my evidence folder. The war Linda had started was about to become very public, and I was going to need every single one of my 48 files to survive it. Yes, I said. I'll be there in an hour. And Officer Martinez? You're going to want to bring someone from student conduct with you. This is much bigger than a wellness check. The meeting with Campus Police was scheduled for 11 a.m., which gave me 3 hours to prepare what I was mentally calling Operation Truth Bomb. Jessica had helped me organize everything into a timeline that read like a psychological thriller, Linda's months-long campaign mapped out with timestamps, screenshots, and audio evidence that painted a very different picture than the one she presented to the world. But at 9:23 a.m., my carefully laid plans got their first major wrench. My phone rang with a call from Grandma Rose, a miracle, since she'd been unreachable since the party. I answered immediately, desperate to hear a friendly voice. Emma, honey? But it wasn't my grandmother's voice. It was Aunt Carol, and she sounded absolutely frantic. It's Carol. I'm at your grandmother's house and she collapsed this morning. We're at St. Mary's Hospital right now. My world tilted sideways. What? Is she okay? What happened? The doctors think it was the stress from last night. She kept saying she didn't know who to believe, that she couldn't handle family fighting like this. Emma, she was clutching a printout of all those Facebook posts about you when the paramedics arrived. The guilt hit me like a physical blow. My sweet, 84-year-old grandmother was in the hospital because of the war Linda had started. Which room is she in? I'm coming right now. Emma, wait. Carol's voice got strangely hesitant. Your mother is already here, and she's told the hospital staff about your situation. About the obsession and the mental health concerns. They might not let you see Grandma Rose right now. I stared at my phone in disbelief. She's using Grandma's hospitalization to keep me away? I'm just warning you, honey. Linda showed them some text messages on her phone, one supposedly from you to Derek that were pretty intense. The nurse mentioned something about keeping agitated family members away from patients. After Carol hung up, I immediately called my father. Dad, Linda's at the hospital with Grandma and she's showing people fake text messages. Can you meet me there? I need a witness to what I'm about to expose. Already on my way, Robert said. Emma, I spent the morning making some calls. I contacted Derek's previous employer, the one Linda told everyone he quit to get away from your harassment. Turns out he was fired for sending inappropriate messages to a coworker's daughter. A 19-year-old. The pieces were clicking into place with terrifying clarity. Dad, what if I'm not Derek's first victim? What if this whole thing is a pattern they've used before? That's exactly what I'm thinking. I've got a friend running a background check on him right now. Emma, I need you to be very careful. If Derek has a history of targeting young women and Linda is helping him cover it up by discrediting his victims, this is much more serious than family drama. I was still processing this revelation when Jessica burst through the front door, her face pale and her hands shaking. Em, you need to see this right now. She shoved her phone at me, and what I saw made my knees buckle. It was a Facebook live stream from Linda's profile, and she was broadcasting from the hospital waiting room with tears streaming down her face. The viewer count showed 247 people watching. I just don't know what else to do, she was saying to the camera. My own mother is in the hospital because of the stress Emma has caused this family. The doctors say her blood pressure spiked dangerously high after she read about Emma's obsessive behavior online. And now Emma is threatening to come here and cause more disruption while my mother fights for her life. The comments were rolling in fast, dozens of hearts and crying emojis, people typing praying for Rose and Linda you're so strong and Emma needs serious help. I watched my mother perform grief and victimhood for nearly 250 people, using my grandmother's genuine medical emergency as a prop in her psychological warfare. But what made my stomach turn wasn't just the manipulation, it was the timestamp. Linda had started this live stream at 9:18 a.m. Aunt Carol had called me about Grandma's collapse at 9:23 a.m. Linda had gone live to perform her victim act before anyone in the family had even been notified about the emergency. She'd been waiting for something exactly like this to happen. The live stream was still going when my phone started buzzing with calls from numbers I didn't recognize. I ignored them until Jessica grabbed my arm, her face white as she stared at her own phone. Em, look at the comments. Someone just posted your dorm address. I snatched her phone and scrolled through the Facebook comments on Linda's livestream. There it was, posted by someone named Jennifer Walsh at 9:47 a.m. Emma Thompson, Riverside Dorms, Building C, Room 312. Someone needs to do a wellness check on this girl before she hurts someone. Who the hell is Jennifer Walsh? I asked, screenshotting the comment before it could be deleted. I'm looking her up, Jessica said, already typing on her laptop. Holy shit, Em. Jennifer Walsh is Derek's ex-girlfriend from 3 years ago. Look at this. She showed me Jennifer's Facebook profile, a woman about my age with a restraining order document posted in her photos from 2021. The name on the restraining order was Derek Mitchell, and the reason listed was harassment and stalking behavior. Derek had a restraining order filed against him, I whispered, staring at the document. And now his ex is posting my address and supporting Linda's story. My phone rang, campus police. Miss Thompson? This is Officer Martinez again. We've received multiple reports that you're planning to disrupt activities at St. Mary's Hospital. We need you to come in immediately. Officer Martinez, I haven't even left my apartment. Someone is filing false reports about me in real time. I have evidence that. Ma'am, we have witnesses stating you called the hospital making threats about your grandmother's care. We need to see you within the hour or we'll have to issue a warrant for a psychiatric hold. I looked at Jessica, panic rising in my chest. I never called the hospital. I don't even know Grandma's room number. After hanging up, I immediately pulled up my phone records on my carrier's website. Every call I'd made in the last 24 hours was documented with timestamps and numbers. No calls to St. Mary's Hospital. No calls to any hospital. They're not just lying about me, I told Jessica, screenshotting my call log. They're impersonating me. Someone called the hospital pretending to be Emma Thompson and made threats. Jessica was still digging through Jennifer Walsh's social media. Em, look at this post from Jennifer, dated 6 months ago. She turned her laptop toward me, and I felt my blood turn to ice. The post read, ladies, watch out for Derek Mitchell. He targets college girls, love bombs them, then when they reject him, he and his older female friend destroy their reputations. They did this to me and at least 2 other girls I know of. He's in the Austin area now with some woman named Linda. 6 months ago. Linda had been dating Derek for 7 months. Jennifer tried to warn people, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She tried to warn people and now she's helping them destroy me. They got to her somehow. My laptop chimed with an email from my father, Emma, Derek Mitchell has been fired from 4 jobs in 3 years. 2 for inappropriate contact with younger female coworkers, 1 for falsifying references, and 1 for harassment. I also found court records. 3 different women have filed restraining orders against him since 2019. All 3 orders mention a female accomplice who helped him stalk and discredit his victims. The women all described her as manipulative and skilled at turning people against the victim. The female accomplice. Linda wasn't just Derek's girlfriend, she was his partner in a pattern of abuse that had been going on for years. My phone buzzed with a text from the number that had called earlier claiming to be Patricia Morris, the therapist. Emma, your mother has shared very disturbing evidence with our professional network. The consensus is that you're experiencing a psychotic break with possible violent ideation. We're recommending immediate hospitalization. A team is being assembled to help you. I screenshot the message and immediately called the number back, putting it on speaker so Jessica could hear. Patricia Morris, LCSW, a woman's voice answered. This is Emma Thompson. You texted me about hospitalization. I need to know exactly what evidence my mother showed you. There was a long pause. Emma, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I never texted you. I don't even know who you are. The line went dead. Someone was impersonating licensed professionals now. The realization that someone was impersonating a licensed therapist hit me like a physical blow. I stared at Jessica, who had gone completely pale as the implications sank in. They're using fake professionals now, I whispered. This isn't just family drama anymore. This is identity theft, impersonation, fraud. My phone immediately started buzzing again, 3 different unknown numbers calling in rapid succession. I let them all go to voicemail, but Jessica's phone started ringing next. Then my laptop chimed with a Skype call from a number I didn't recognize. They're trying to overwhelm us, Jessica said, declining her call. Multiple contact points so we can't keep track of what's real and what's fake. I was screenshotting everything when my laptop chimed with an email from an address I didn't recognize, emmathompsontruth@gmail.com. Someone had created an email account using my name. The subject line read, Confession and Apology to Derek Mitchell. My hands were shaking as I opened it. The email was addressed to Derek, allegedly from me, and it was absolutely unhinged. References to following him, professions of love, threats about what I'd do if he didn't leave Linda. It was dated 2 hours ago and had been CC'd to 15 people, including my academic advisor, my boss at the bookstore, and several family members. They created a fake email account in my name, I told Jessica, my voice cracking. They're sending fake confessions to everyone. But the worst part was at the bottom of the email. I'd been pretending Derek was the one pursuing me, but I have fake screenshots and recordings to try to make him look bad. I'm sorry for lying about everything. I need help. Emma Thompson. They weren't just discrediting me, they were systematically destroying every piece of evidence I'd collected by claiming I'd faked it all. Jessica was furiously typing on her laptop. I'm documenting everything with timestamps. Look. She showed me her screen, where she'd created a timeline showing the fake email being sent at 10:47 a.m., while my actual phone record showed I was on a call with my father at that exact time. We can prove I didn't send it, I said, feeling a tiny spark of hope. That spark died when my phone rang with a call from Dr. Peterson, my academic advisor. Emma, his voice was strained and formal. I just received your email confession. Given this admission of fabricating evidence and the psychological distress you're clearly experiencing, the university has no choice but to extend your suspension indefinitely pending a full investigation. Dr. Peterson, I didn't send that email. Someone created a fake account using my name. Look at the email address, it's not my university email or my personal email. Emma, the email came with detailed explanations of how you created fake screenshots and voice recordings. It specifically mentions the conversation we had this morning, including quotes from what you told me about Derek. Only you would know those details. My stomach dropped. Someone had been listening to my calls. Dr. Peterson, what if my phone is compromised? What if someone's been monitoring my communications? There was a long pause. Emma, I think you need to focus on getting professional help rather than creating more elaborate explanations. The university's decision stands. After he hung up, I immediately called my cell phone carrier's fraud department. The customer service representative, Maria, listened to my situation with growing concern. Ms. Thompson, I'm showing some unusual activity on your account, she said after pulling up my records. Someone attempted to add a line to your account 3 days ago using your social security number and mother's maiden name. We denied it due to address verification issues, but they knew all your security information. Can you tell me what address they tried to use? It shows an Austin address. 2247 Maple Creek Drive, apartment 15B. I wrote down the address, my heart pounding. Maria, can you lock down my account completely? No changes without me physically appearing at a store with ID? Absolutely. Ms. Thompson, I'd also recommend filing a police report. This looks like a sophisticated identity theft operation. After securing my phone account, I googled the address Maria had given me. It belonged to a complex called Riverside Gardens, and according to the apartment locator website, Unit 15B was a 2-bedroom currently leased to D. Mitchell. Derek's apartment. They'd tried to add a phone line to my account using Derek's address. Jessica, I called out, I need you to drive me somewhere. We're going to Derek's apartment complex, but not to confront him. We're going to the leasing office to get information. Are you insane? That's exactly what they want, proof that you're stalking him. No, listen. Derek tried to add a phone line to my account using his address. That's wire fraud, identity theft. If I can get the leasing manager to confirm he lives there, and I have the phone records showing the attempted fraud, I have proof he's been impersonating me. My phone buzzed with a call from my father. Emma, I'm at the hospital with your grandmother. Linda's not here anymore, she left right after her live stream ended. But honey, the nurses are saying some very concerning things. Someone called here an hour ago claiming to be you, screaming about how you were going to make everyone pay if they didn't let you see Rose. Dad, I have phone records proving I never called there. I believe you. But Emma, there's something else. One of the nurses recognized Derek from when he was here 6 months ago. He brought in another young woman who had supposedly stalked him. Same story, same pattern. The girl was having a complete breakdown, claiming Derek and some older woman had destroyed her life. My breath caught. What happened to her? She was admitted for a 72-hour psychiatric hold. The nurse said she tried to tell everyone that Derek and his accomplice had framed her, but no one believed her because they had so much evidence of her obsessive behavior. Jennifer Walsh. The ex-girlfriend who tried to warn people about Derek, who'd posted my address in Linda's livestream comments. They'd already destroyed her once. And now they were using the exact same playbook on me. The nurse's revelation about Derek's previous victim hit me like a freight train, but it also gave me something I desperately needed, a pattern of evidence that went beyond just my word against theirs. Dad, I need that nurse's name, I said, already grabbing my jacket. If Derek and Linda have done this before, there might be other victims. Other evidence. Her name is Patricia Gonzalez, she's been working here for 12 years. Emma, she seemed really shaken up when she recognized Derek. She said the other girl, Jennifer, kept insisting someone was impersonating her and filing false reports, but everyone thought she was delusional. After hanging up, I pulled up Jennifer Walsh's Facebook profile again, but this time I noticed something I'd missed before. Her profile showed she was in a relationship as of 2 months ago, but there were no photos of her boyfriend, no tagged posts, nothing. Just a relationship status that appeared right around the time she'd stopped posting warnings about Derek. Jessica, what if they didn't just destroy Jennifer's reputation? I said, showing her the screen. What if they're still controlling her somehow? My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. This is Jennifer Walsh. I saw the posts about you. Meet me at Riverside Park in 30 minutes. Come alone. I have information that can help you, but I can't text it. I stared at the message, every instinct screaming that this was a trap. But if Jennifer really had been through the same thing, she might be the only person who could help me prove a pattern. Absolutely not, Jessica said when I showed her the text. This is obviously a setup. They're trying to get you to a location where they can claim you were stalking Derek again. But as I was debating whether to respond, my laptop chimed with a new email, this time from my legitimate university address. It was from the Student Conduct Office. Ms. Thompson, we have received photographic evidence of you engaging in stalking behavior as recently as this morning. The photographs show you outside Derek Mitchell's residence at 8:47 a.m. today. Your hearing has been moved to tomorrow at 2 p.m. I was here with you at 8:47 a.m., I told Jessica, pulling up the timestamps on my evidence folder. We were organizing files and drinking coffee. Jessica nodded grimly. I took a selfie of us working this morning. She scrolled through her phone and showed me a photo timestamped 8:52 a.m., both of us clearly at our apartment, surrounded by laptops and documents. Someone had either photoshopped images of me at Derek's apartment, or they'd used someone who looked enough like me to be convincing in a photograph. The level of premeditation was terrifying. My phone rang again, this time it was Campus Police Officer Martinez. Ms. Thompson, we've received photographic evidence placing you at a location you were specifically warned to avoid. We're issuing a warrant for your immediate detention. Officer Martinez, I have photographic proof I was at my apartment at that time, with a witness. Someone is manufacturing evidence against me. Ma'am, that's what you'll need to discuss with a detective. We need you to turn yourself in within 2 hours, or we'll come find you. After he hung up, I sat in stunned silence. In less than 18 hours, Linda and Derek had managed to get me suspended from school, banned from seeing my hospitalized grandmother, and now there was a warrant for my arrest based on fabricated photographs. But they'd made one critical mistake. They'd escalated so fast and so dramatically that the timeline didn't make sense anymore. No one goes from normal college student to dangerous stalker overnight, and I had documentation proving my whereabouts that contradicted every single false claim. Time to take everything I had directly to the police, not campus security, but real detectives who might actually investigate instead of just react. The war was about to get very public, very official, and very documented. The decision to go to the real police instead of campus security felt like the first proactive choice I'd made since this nightmare began. Jessica insisted on driving me to the downtown precinct, and we spent the 20-minute ride rehearsing how I'd present my case without sounding like the unhinged stalker Linda had painted me as. Remember, Jessica said as we pulled into the parking lot, lead with the identity theft and fraud. That's concrete crime stuff they can investigate. The family drama comes after. Detective Sarah Kim was nothing like I'd expected. Mid-40s, sharp-eyed, with a kind of no-nonsense demeanor that made me feel like maybe someone would finally take this seriously. She listened without interruption as I laid out the timeline, showing her the phone company records proving Derek had tried to fraudulently add a line to my account using his address. So you're telling me, Detective Kim said, reviewing the printouts, that in the span of 18 hours, you went from honor roll student to dangerous stalker requiring a psychiatric hold? That's exactly what I'm saying. And I have documentation proving I was nowhere near the locations they claim I was stalking Derek at. She pulled up something on her computer, frowning. Ms. Thompson, I'm looking at the campus police report filed this morning. It says you've been escalating for months. There are statements here from multiple family members dating back to February. My heart sank. Detective Kim, my mother has been planting seeds of this story for months, but the actual stalking allegations only started yesterday. Look at the dates on everything, there's a clear escalation that coincides exactly with my mother's birthday party. I showed her my phone records, my class attendance reports, even my work schedule at the campus bookstore. If I'd been stalking Derek for months like they claim, wouldn't there be gaps in my normal routine? But look, perfect attendance, consistent work schedule, normal phone usage patterns until yesterday. Detective Kim spent several minutes comparing my documentation with whatever was on her screen. This is interesting. The campus report mentions voice recordings and text messages as evidence, but none of those were actually provided to police. Just statements from witnesses claiming they'd seen them. Because they don't exist, I said. Or if they do, they're fabricated. Detective Kim, I think Derek Mitchell has done this before. My father found records of 3 different restraining orders filed against him, all mentioning a female accomplice. That got her attention. She pulled up another screen, typing rapidly. Derek Mitchell, yes, I see the records. Austin PD has had several complaints about him over the past 3 years. Never enough evidence to prosecute, but... She paused, reading something that made her eyebrows rise. Ms. Thompson, did you know there's been a detective in our cybercrime unit tracking a pattern of cases involving identity theft and reputation destruction targeting young women? My pulse quickened. No, I had no idea. Detective Rodriguez has been building a case around what he calls systematic reputation assassination, usually targeting college-aged women who've rejected someone's advances. The pattern involves identity theft, impersonation, fake social media campaigns, and coordinated character destruction. She picked up her phone. I'm going to call him down here. While we waited for Detective Rodriguez, my phone buzzed with yet another unknown number. This time I answered immediately, putting it on speaker so Detective Kim could hear. Emma Thompson? The voice was professional, official sounding. This is Dr. James Mitchell from Austin State Hospital. We understand you've been experiencing a psychological crisis. Your family has requested an emergency intervention. Detective Kim's eyes sharpened. She gestured for me to keep the person talking. Dr. Mitchell, I said carefully, can you tell me who specifically contacted you about this intervention? Your mother, Linda Thompson, and her partner Derek Mitchell. They provided extensive documentation of your deteriorating mental state and potential for violence. Detective Kim was already typing on her computer. She turned her screen toward me, showing the Austin State Hospital staff directory. There was no Dr. James Mitchell listed. Sir, I said, what's your license number? The line went dead immediately. Detective Kim smiled grimly. Ms. Thompson, I think you just helped us catch someone in the act of impersonating a medical professional. That's a felony. Detective Rodriguez arrived 15 minutes later with a thick file folder and the kind of intense energy that suggested he'd been waiting for a case exactly like mine. He was younger than Detective Kim, maybe early 30s, with the slightly manic look of someone who'd been tracking an elusive pattern for too long. Emma Thompson, he said, settling into the chair across from me. I've been hoping someone like you would walk through that door. He opened his folder and spread out what looked like a dozen different case files. Meet Sarah Chen, University of Texas, 2021. Jessica Martinez, Austin Community College, 2022. Riley Johnson, St. Edwards, 6 months ago. All college women, all accused of stalking older men, all systematically destroyed through coordinated online campaigns and identity theft. My hands trembled as I looked at the photos paperclipped to each file. They could have been my sisters, young, normal-looking women with the same shell-shocked expression I'd been wearing for the past 18 hours. Let me guess, Rodriguez continued, pulling out a checklist. It started with your mother's boyfriend making inappropriate advances that you rejected. Then your mother began dropping hints to family about your concerning behavior. Social media posts appeared painting you as unstable. False reports were filed with your school and workplace. Someone attempted to access your phone account. And finally, fake evidence materialized showing you in places you've never been. I stared at him. That's exactly what happened. How did you know? Because it's the exact same playbook every time. He pointed to Sarah Chen's file. Sarah rejected her professor's teaching assistant. Within weeks, her mother, who had conveniently started dating an older man with a history of targeting students, was telling everyone Sarah was obsessed with the TA. Sound familiar? Detective Kim leaned forward. Rodriguez, are you saying there's an actual conspiracy here? Multiple people coordinating these attacks? Not multiple random people. The same people, moving from victim to victim. Rodriguez pulled out a photograph that made my blood freeze. It showed Derek at what looked like a coffee shop, sitting across from a woman I didn't recognize. This was taken 3 weeks before Riley Johnson's reputation was destroyed. The woman Derek's meeting with? That's Riley's stepmother, Margaret. My phone rang, it was my father. I put him on speaker at Detective Kim's nod. Emma, I'm still at the hospital with your grandmother. She's stable, but there's something you need to know. I was asking nurses about Derek's previous victim, and one of them remembered something crucial. The girl, Jennifer Walsh? She had a restraining order against Derek that was mysteriously dropped right before her psychiatric hold ended. Rodriguez straightened up. What reason did she give for dropping it? That's the thing, Robert continued. The nurse said Jennifer claimed someone was threatening her family if she didn't drop the charges. But here's the weird part, Jennifer's mother had just started dating someone new. Someone who convinced her that Jennifer needed tough love and that enabling her delusions wasn't helping. The room went completely silent. Rodriguez was scribbling notes frantically. Dad, I said, my voice barely above a whisper, what was the name of Jennifer's mother's boyfriend? I don't know, but the nurse said he was significantly younger than Jennifer's mom. She remembered thinking it was odd, this middle-aged woman suddenly dating someone barely older than her daughter. Rodriguez closed his folder with a snap. We're not dealing with a simple case of he said she said here. We're looking at an organized operation. Derek finds targets, identifies their vulnerable family relationships, then manipulates older women into participating in systematic reputation destruction of their own daughters. My phone buzzed with a text from Linda, Emma, Derek, and I have decided to give you one more chance to get help voluntarily before we have to take legal action. Meet us at Riverside Park at 8 p.m. Come alone and we can work this out as a family. Detective Rodriguez smiled coldly as he read the message. Ms. Thompson, I think it's time we gave Derek and Linda exactly what they're asking for. Detective Rodriguez's smile was the kind that made me simultaneously hopeful and terrified. Here's what we're going to do, he said, pulling out what looked like a small recording device. You're going to that meeting, but you won't be alone. We'll have undercover officers positioned throughout the park, and you'll be wearing a wire. Absolutely not, Jessica said immediately. That's exactly what they want, you isolated and vulnerable. But Detective Kim was already nodding. It's actually perfect. If they're planning to threaten her or try to coerce a false confession, we'll have it all on record. Plus, if Derek really has done this before, he might get overconfident and reveal details about other victims. My phone buzzed with another text from Linda, Emma, we know you're at the police station. This is exactly the kind of erratic behavior we've been worried about. The meeting at 8 p.m. is your last chance to handle this privately before Derek files for a restraining order based on all the evidence we have. Detective Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. How do they know you're here? A chill ran down my spine. I don't know. We didn't tell anyone where we were going. I looked at Jessica, who was shaking her head. Check your phone, Detective Kim suggested. Is your location sharing turned on? I pulled up my settings, and my stomach dropped. My location was being shared with Linda Thompson and had been for the past 6 hours. I didn't turn this on. I never share my location with my mother. Rodriguez was already on his phone. I'm calling our tech unit. If they have remote access to your device, they might have been monitoring all your communications. He hung up and turned to me. Emma, who has had physical access to your phone recently? I thought back, and a memory hit me like a punch to the gut. 2 weeks ago, I went to Linda's house for dinner. Derek offered to help me update some apps because my phone was running slowly. He had my phone for maybe 20 minutes. 20 minutes is plenty of time to install monitoring software, Rodriguez muttered. That explains how they knew specific details about your conversations with your advisor, how they could impersonate you so effectively. Detective Kim stood up. We need to get you a clean phone immediately, and we need to assume they've been listening to everything you've said today. As if on cue, my compromised phone rang. Linda's contact photo filled the screen, a selfie of her and Derek from last month that I'd never saved to her contact. They've been customizing my phone remotely. Answer it, Rodriguez instructed, gesturing to the recording equipment. Let's see what they do with the information they think they have. I put the phone on speaker. Linda's voice came through sickeningly sweet. Emma, honey, I know you've been talking to some very nice police officers today. Derek, and I think that shows real progress. You're finally reaching out for help instead of denying your problems. Mom, the police know about the identity theft. They know about Derek's history with other women. Linda's laugh was like nails on a chalkboard. Oh, sweetheart, you mean his history of being victimized by unstable young women? Yes, we've already shared Derek's experiences with Detective Rodriguez. He's been so patient with these unfortunate situations. My blood ran cold. Rodriguez was frantically typing on his computer, his face growing darker by the second. Emma, Linda continued, Derek has something he'd like to say to you. Derek's voice came through the phone, and I could hear the smug smile in it. Emma, I want you to know I don't blame you for any of this. Mental illness isn't your fault. But sweetie, the photos we have of you outside my apartment this morning, the voice recordings of you threatening my safety, the testimony from multiple family members about your escalating behavior, it's enough for a very serious restraining order. Maybe even criminal charges. Rodriguez held up his hand, scribbling a note, keep them talking. Ask about specifics. What photos, Derek? What voice recordings? The ones your own phone has been sending us, honey. Every text, every call, every photo you take gets automatically backed up to a shared cloud account. It's amazing what technology can do these days. The room went completely silent. They hadn't just been monitoring my communications, they'd been using my own phone to create evidence against me. Detective Kim was already on the phone with the tech unit, speaking in urgent whispers about phone forensics and digital evidence. Linda's voice came back through, so here's what's going to happen, Emma. You're going to meet us at Riverside Park at 8 o'clock. You're going to apologize to Derek publicly, I'll be live streaming it to help repair the damage your accusations have done to his reputation. And then you're going to voluntarily admit yourself for the psychiatric help you clearly need. And if I don't? Then Derek files criminal charges tomorrow morning, and instead of getting help, you get arrested. Your choice, sweetheart. The line went dead, and Rodriguez looked up from his computer with an expression that made my stomach sink. What is it? I asked. Detective Rodriguez doesn't exist in their system, he said quietly. Emma, I think they just told us they've been impersonating police officers too. The revelation that they'd been impersonating Detective Rodriguez hit me like a physical blow. I stared at the real Rodriguez, who was frantically making calls to verify his own identity in the system, while Detective Kim pulled up personnel records on her computer. This is insane, Jessica whispered. They've been playing detective this whole time? My compromised phone buzzed with a text from Detective Rodriguez. Ms. Thompson, after reviewing the additional evidence provided by your family, we've determined that criminal charges are warranted. Please turn yourself in by 9 p.m. tonight to avoid a warrant being issued. I showed the message to the real Rodriguez, whose face had gone from concern to absolutely livid. They're impersonating a police detective now. That's not just identity theft anymore, that's impersonating a law enforcement officer. Federal charges. Detective Kim looked up from her computer. Rodriguez, you're definitely in the system. Your badge number, your cases, everything checks out. But look at this. She turned her screen toward us. Someone created a fake LinkedIn profile for you 3 days ago. Same name, similar photo, claiming to specialize in cybercrime and stalking cases. 3 days ago, I repeated, the timeline clicking into place. That was right after Linda's birthday party. They were already planning this whole police impersonation angle. My phone rang again, this time showing Campus Police Officer Martinez. Rodriguez nodded for me to answer. Ms. Thompson, I've been contacted by Detective Rodriguez about your case. He's recommending we increase the charges to include making false reports to police. You need to come in immediately. The real Rodriguez grabbed his badge and held it up to the phone. This is the actual Detective Rodriguez, Austin PD badge number 4751. Who is this? The line went dead instantly. Okay, this is officially the most elaborate harassment campaign I've ever seen, Detective Kim said, making notes in what was rapidly becoming a very thick file. Emma, I need you to think carefully, has Derek ever mentioned having law enforcement connections? Military background? Any explanation for how he'd know police procedures well enough to fake this? Before I could answer, Jessica's phone started buzzing. She looked at the screen and her face went white. It's my mom. She's crying. She put the call on speaker. Jessica, honey, I just got off the phone with someone from the police department. They said Emma threatened to hurt herself and she's been making violent threats against some boy. They want to know if she has access to weapons, if she's been acting strange when she comes home. Rodriguez immediately grabbed the phone. Ma'am, this is Detective Rodriguez with Austin PD. No one from our department has called you. You're speaking to the victim of an impersonation scam. Jessica's mom, Karen, sounded confused and scared. But they knew Jessica's name, Emma's name, they had details about where Emma goes to school. They said there was going to be a welfare check at your apartment tonight. Mrs. Chen, Rodriguez said, what number did they call you from? It showed up as Austin Police Department on my caller ID. Hold on, let me check my call log. The number was 512-974-5000. Detective Kim was already looking it up. That's the real APD number, but it's being spoofed. They're using technology to make fake calls appear to come from our actual department. After Jessica's mom hung up, my phone immediately started ringing with calls from numbers I didn't recognize. Then Jessica's phone. Then the landline in the police station started ringing. They're calling everyone, I said, watching the cascade of incoming calls. Everyone in my contacts, everyone in Jessica's contacts. How many people are they going to convince that I'm dangerous? Rodriguez answered one of the calls coming to his direct line. Rodriguez, cybercrime. What? No, there's no Emma Thompson in custody. Ma'am, you need to stop calling this number with false reports. He hung up and looked at me grimly. That was your Aunt Carol. Someone told her you'd been arrested for making bomb threats and she needed to wire money for your bail. Bomb threats? My voice cracked. They're telling people I made bomb threats now? Detective Kim's computer chimed with an urgent email. She read it quickly, then stood up so fast her chair rolled backward. We have a problem. Someone just called in a bomb threat to your university, claiming to be Emma Thompson. Campus is being evacuated right now. The room started spinning. In the span of 6 hours, I'd gone from college student to suspected bomber in the minds of law enforcement. The speed and scope of their escalation was beyond anything I could have imagined. Rodriguez was already grabbing his jacket. Emma, we're taking you into protective custody immediately. This has moved way beyond harassment. They're creating a scenario where you could be seriously hurt by someone who believes you're a legitimate threat. My phone buzzed with one final text from Linda. Emma, look what you've made us do. The park. 8 p.m. Last chance before this gets much, much worse. They just threatened to bomb my school and were still expecting me to show up for their twisted family meeting. The war had officially become a siege. The protective custody discussion was interrupted by Detective Kim's phone ringing with what she described as the call I'd been dreading. She answered it on speaker, and I immediately recognized the voice of Dr. Peterson, my academic advisor. Detective Kim? This is Dr. Alan Peterson at UT. I'm calling because we have a serious situation. Emma Thompson's roommate, Jessica Chen, just called our crisis hotline claiming Emma has been kidnapped by police imposters and is being held against her will. I stared at Jessica, who was sitting right next to me, very much not on any phone. Dr. Peterson, this is Emma. Jessica is sitting right here with me at the police station. She didn't call anyone. Emma? But I just spoke to Jessica 15 minutes ago. She was hysterical, saying men claiming to be detectives had taken you from your apartment at gunpoint. She gave me detailed descriptions of the supposed kidnappers, including badge numbers. Rodriguez was already pulling up our sign-in records on his computer. Dr. Peterson, this is Detective Rodriguez. Jessica Chen signed into our station voluntarily at 2:47 p.m. She's been here for 3 hours helping Ms. Thompson with a harassment case. No one has been taken anywhere at gunpoint. Then who did I speak to? Dr. Peterson sounded genuinely confused and increasingly alarmed. The caller knew Jessica's student ID number, her class schedule, even her mother's maiden name. She was begging me to call the FBI because local police couldn't be trusted. My blood turned to ice as I realized what had happened. Dr. Peterson, did this fake Jessica give you a phone number where you could reach her? Yes, she said her phone was damaged but I could reach her at 512-555-0847 if there were any updates about the search for you. I looked at Jessica, whose face had gone completely white. That's my old phone number. The one I had freshman year before I switched carriers. How would they even know that? Rodriguez was scribbling notes furiously. They've been planning this for months. Collecting information on everyone in your life, creating detailed profiles they could use for impersonation. He looked up at Dr. Peterson on the phone. Sir, did the caller make any specific requests? She begged me to contact Emma's professors and warn them that she might try to come to class tomorrow despite being psychologically compromised. She said Emma had been making threats about making everyone who betrayed her pay and that the fake police were enabling her delusions. Detective Kim rubbed her temples. So now they're preemptively discrediting anything Emma might try to say to her professors tomorrow. Dr. Peterson, how many people have you contacted based on this false information? I sent emails to Emma's entire academic team. Her professors, her thesis advisor, the department head. I also forwarded the information to student services because the caller said Emma might try to access campus resources to continue her harassment campaign. I watched my academic career crumble in real time. Even if we proved everything was fake, the fact that university officials had sent warnings about me to dozens of faculty members would follow me forever. Linda and Derek weren't just destroying my present, they were systematically eliminating my future. There's more, Dr. Peterson continued, his voice getting smaller. The caller said Emma had been researching how to make explosives and had been asking questions about campus security protocols. Given the bomb threat called in earlier using Emma's name, I felt obligated to share that information with campus police. Jessica grabbed my arm. You took that chemistry lab safety course last semester. You asked me about security protocols because you were doing that paper on campus emergency preparedness. They'd taken normal academic activities from months ago and twisted them into evidence of terrorist planning. Every innocent interaction, every routine question, every mundane detail of college life had been weaponized against me. My phone buzzed with a call from FBI agent Sarah Martinez. Detective Rodriguez answered it immediately. This is Detective Rodriguez, Austin PD. Who is this? A professional female voice responded, Agent Martinez, FBI Cybercrime Division. We've received reports of a domestic terrorism threat involving Emma Thompson. We need to coordinate with local law enforcement for her immediate apprehension. Rodriguez was already shaking his head at Detective Kim. Agent Martinez, what's your badge number and which field office are you calling from? The line went dead. They're impersonating federal agents now, he said grimly. This isn't just harassment anymore, Emma. This is a coordinated attack designed to make you disappear into the system. If they can get you arrested on terrorism charges, even if the charges don't stick, you'll be held without bail while everything gets sorted out. That could take months. Detective Kim's computer chimed with an urgent alert. Rodriguez, we just got a bolo alert for Emma Thompson issued by, wait, this can't be right. It says it was issued by you, 30 minutes ago. I never issued any bolo. Rodriguez pulled up his computer terminal, typing rapidly. Someone with access to police systems issued an alert saying Emma Thompson is armed, dangerous, and wanted for questioning in terrorist activities. I felt like I was drowning in quicksand, every movement to save myself just made me sink faster. How is this possible? How do they have access to actual police systems? That, Rodriguez said grimly, is what we're about to find out. The answer came from the most unexpected source, my grandmother. At 7:42 p.m., 18 minutes before Linda's ultimatum deadline, Grandma Rose called Detective Rodriguez's direct line from her hospital bed. The nurse, Patricia Gonzalez, had helped her piece together something that changed everything. Detective Rodriguez, her frail voice came through the speaker. I need to tell you about Linda's friend Marcus Webb. Rodriguez straightened up immediately. Mrs. Thompson, who is Marcus Webb? He works for some computer company that handles police contracts. Linda's been dating him on and off for 2 years, even while she's been with Derek. She bragged to me last Christmas about how Marcus could look up anyone in any system and how he'd helped her get information on Emma's professors and classmates. My grandmother's words hit the room like a bomb. Rodriguez was already typing frantically, pulling up contractor databases and police vendor records. Mrs. Thompson, Detective Kim leaned toward the phone. Did Linda ever mention Marcus helping her with other situations? Other people she wanted information on? Oh yes, dear. She said Marcus helped her with Derek's crazy ex-girlfriends by finding out where they worked, who their families were. She called it evening the playing field when girls tried to lie about Derek. Rodriguez found him in the system 30 seconds later. Marcus Webb, Senior Systems Administrator for Blue Tech Solutions. They handle database maintenance for 6 different law enforcement agencies in Texas. His face was grim. He has administrative access to everything, BOLO systems, criminal databases, personnel records. At 7:56 p.m., 4 minutes before their deadline, my phone rang one last time. Linda's voice was sharp with panic. Emma, you need to get to Riverside Park right now. Marcus says the police systems are showing some kind of investigation into Derek's background, and we need to fix this before it goes too far. Mom, I said, looking directly at Detective Rodriguez, I'm already exactly where I need to be. The silence on the other end stretched for 10 seconds before Derek's voice came through, no longer smooth and competent. Emma, if you think some fake evidence you created is going to. Derek, Rodriguez interrupted, speaking into the phone. This is Detective Rodriguez, Austin PD. We have Marcus Webb in custody as of 20 minutes ago. We have his computer, his access logs, and his full confession about creating false police reports and BOLO alerts on your behalf. Another silence, then Linda's voice, higher pitched and desperate. Rodriguez, we know you're not a real detective. Marcus told us he checked and there's no Rodriguez in cybercrime. Ma'am, Detective Kim interrupted. Marcus Webb was arrested at 7:31 p.m. for unauthorized access to police systems, identity theft, impersonating federal agents, and conspiracy to commit fraud. He's currently explaining how you and Derek Mitchell paid him $15,000 to destroy your daughter's reputation using official law enforcement databases. The line went quiet except for whispered arguing between Linda and Derek. Rodriguez pulled up his arrest log on the computer screen, showing me Marcus Webb's booking photo and charges. Emma, it's over. We have digital forensics pulling every fake report, every impersonated call, every falsified document. Your mother and Derek are looking at federal charges for conspiracy, wire fraud, identity theft, and impersonating law enforcement officers. My phone buzzed with one final text from Linda. Emma, please. Let's talk about this as a family. I was just trying to protect you from making a mistake with Derek. This all got out of hand. I looked at the message, then at Detective Rodriguez, then at Jessica, who had been documenting everything for 6 straight hours. Detective Rodriguez, I said, I'd like to press charges. At 9:23 p.m., Linda Thompson and Derek Mitchell were arrested at Riverside Park, where they'd been waiting with a fake livestream setup to record my confession and apology. The 100 guests who'd heard Linda's lies would now hear the truth, in court testimony, news reports, and the justice system working exactly as it should when someone tries to destroy an innocent person's life. My name was cleared. My future was restored. And Linda's reputation? Well, let's just say the truth spread a lot faster than her lies ever did.